Hey, what's up, everyone? So today I just wanted to do a breakdown of the Isaac Cruz versus Gervanta Davis fight. I have to say, initially I didn't think it was going to be a match because I guess the four horsemen they call it, they have a lot of hype around them, which leads us to believe, well, we have a bigger expectation for them. And boxing media and boxing professionals also elevate and validate the claims that certain fighters are considered elite fighters. Not only that, but a lot of the commentators or YouTube analysts are also ranking them at the very top, even though they're not ranked in their division as high like Gervanta Tank Davis. So I made a video earlier about Tank Davis facing this guy, and I did a few quick highlight videos. I looked at the highlight videos to find out how good he was, and man, he hit hard. And I said, man, this is gonna be interesting, because the guy hits hard, but so does Tank, and just didn't really know what he brought to the table. I didn't know anything, to be honest. And I didn't initially watch the fight. I watched it afterwards, and I watched the whole fight. And the whole first half of the fight, Tank was out of it. I mean, what I want to say is Isaac Cruz was dominating the fight, or landing the significant punches, and Gervanta Tank Davis punches were not landing. Every time he hit an uppercut, they would hit here, like something like right here, and then go like that. Or he would hit an uppercut and he would block it. And so this is what the commentators were talking, were relating to, is, wow, look at him make a huge hit. And it's like, where, right? Where are these huge blows? And I watched the YouTube video. I watched a video that someone that was live posted, and they were all really clear. They were actually really cool, because you got to see a lot of different angles. But there was one thing in common. It was very clear that he was landing the most cleaner shots. Strongest shot, the body punching was evident and clear that it backed him up. Every time he got hit, he backed up, paused, and retreated to some degree throughout the fight. And it wasn't until the second half that both fighters were balanced. And what I mean by that, they were both, you could say that the second half of the fight was a draw. The first half of the fight was definitely in favor of Isaac Cruz. So if you ask me, Isaac Cruz wins. He wins not by split decision, but he wins. I mean, you can get experts and go back and do a slow motion if they go through it, and I'm sure it will. You'll see that Isaac Cruz won. You can't give Gervanta Tank Davis points for being a pretty fighter. A lot of people are saying, man, he demonstrated. I mean, the guy just looks good when he fights. I mean, his it's like Michael Jordan doesn't get more points for fucking being midair off of 1 foot with perfect form and hitting a jump shot. You know what I mean? I know Isaac Cruz isn't the most refined fighter, but that doesn't mean he didn't win. I think that we have an image of what we think a boxer should look like and where he should be from in order to win. A good example, Isaac Cruz, he's not even a marketable fighter for a lot of people. I don't really know for America in that matter. He's going to be marketable to the Hispanic market. But I think it boils down to the fact that I think you need to we all know boxing has its ways of being manipulated, and for Isaac Cruz fighting a top quality name, like not quality name, but a well marketed name that's backed by Mayweather Promotions, means Mayweather at least bought at least 2 points or one judge, a few points for one judge at least. So if you want a fair fight, you have to buy one of the judges, one of those guys, just to make it even, just so you're on an even playing field. When you were fighting Floyd, you know that you had to knock him out. So whenever you have to knock someone out, for me, there's some bias. There's something going on. Things are not going to be fair. When someone's such a high caliber name, you know there's going to be some type of preference. Something's leaning some way. Even if it's not the immediate boxer like Floyd Mayweather that's manipulating it. It could be the black market, the betting world, everyone else. The bets, they get up really high up there. I think they had the news came out. They said China was one of the big places where betting happens. So you look at referees, and referees, I think they make, probably the guy that was refereeing the fight didn't make more than 10 grand that night, and the judges don't make more than 5 grand that night. You know what I mean? So for Mayweather, imagine if Gervanta Tank Davis loses. Do we see an upset because Isaac Cruz took it like a professional? They didn't feel very well about it. But how does Gervanta Tank Davis and how does Floyd Mayweather react to an upset? And it's not even nothing, just a fair call. I think calling it a draw would have been fair. How do they react to a loss? I think they react the way Lopez did. Teofimo Lopez. I think they lose it. And sadly, but truly, the true reality is being under a Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya type name. That's what it buys you. It buys you that security. Being a big name like Canelo, it's not Canelo. It's his name. It's what's associated with Floyd Mayweather Promotions too. I mean, if you're within that circle, whether it's anything that's associated with Floyd Mayweather, and you're a referee, you're a judge, making the right type of scorecards gets you into another fight and continuously keeps you within that circle. If you're being honest and it works against the big names, okay, yeah, Cruz is going to appreciate you, but what the hell is Isaac Cruz going to do for you if you're a referee and a judge and you piss off Floyd Mayweather? Floyd Mayweather is a bigger name and is going to put food on the table for you and your family. That's the truth. If you get on Floyd's side, you're set up. If you want justice, Isaac Cruz isn't going to do shit for you, in my opinion. And that's really boxing. I think at best it could have been a draw, but to be honest with you, I think Cruz did win. He's just not the prettier fighter. I do agree that Gervanta Tank Davis had some pretty nice looking punches, and it's the way that he hits. I think he lunges in and he hits, and it's a very good aesthetically. That's photograph material, that's preview material, highlight material. They're really good, nice punches. The visual's amazing. But Isaac Cruz was tearing up that guy's midsection like crazy. I mean, the guy started running, he was backing up. Like I said, the first half of the fight was all Isaac Cruz. And the fact that he doesn't want a rematch says it all. I think I listened to one video from from a boxing analyst, YouTuber called IBFP. He's like always screaming, and he actually said that he thinks that Isaac Cruz lost, and that that Gervanta Tank Davis won the fight. Who else calls it a win? I just watched another one from Showbiz the Adult. He says that he thinks Gervanta Tank Davis won. I think they didn't. And I still don't have a big following, so I'm pretty comfortable saying what I want. It's not going to disrupt whatever I think everyone else says, or who I think my followers are going for. I just think that's what it is, and I think it would have been a huge upset because he's not a marketable name. I mean, what happens to Isaac Cruz? What happens to Gervanta Tank Davis at this point? If he would have lost, it would be hard to promote him, as they would just fall apart. You would have seen a meltdown there. It would have been hilarious. We would have had another, and we did. And honestly, I think we how do you gauge this moving forward? You have to say, I think it's negative for Gervanta Tank Davis, in the sense that a lot of people are saying, no, it just means that Gervanta Tank Davis says, oh, a new star is born. Okay, so that if Gervanta's here, he comes up here. But then that also needs to mean that Gervanta Tank Davis was never up here. So what does that mean for the 135 division? There's no such thing as an elite fighter in the 135 division. A lot of people keep saying that it's a strong division, but it's actually, in my opinion, it's a weak division, in the sense that they're just all good fighters, but they're not excellent, amazing fighters. Gervanta Tank Davis is a good fighter. His aesthetic, the way that he punches, he has a little snap to his punch. He can knock out. But you just saw that that Isaac Cruz was able to neutralize him, and we saw two fighters that were at the same level. The other one's not pretty. I mean, the other one can be compared to maybe a brute force, someone that's maybe like Maidana, and the other guy was someone that, punched a lot prettier, a lot cleaner, maybe like Floyd Mayweather. You see some Floyd Mayweatherish, action. The way he punches, really nice. Gets in there, gets out. He's a very he's an entertaining fighter. I'll give him that. I mean, he looks really good. But in terms of a win, I don't think I give him the win. And that's the thing. We see someone that's clean. It's like every time he punches, you just assume that he connected. I think that's what we're all assuming, that he connected, and I don't think he was connecting. If you look at replays, he doesn't connect. So moving forward, I think, what do we say about the division? I think we say either we need to hand everyone roses. Everyone below that that four horsemen. Now you need to add another horseman with Kambosos, and then what's his name was never even in there to begin with, which is Lomachenko. So that means there's 6 guys, and then you put Isaac Cruz in there, and then Jojo Diaz fought a decision with Haney. So maybe add him in there. So let's just add 10 fucking people. There's 10 horsemen then. Because if you can make an argument about people being elite, and then they all go to decision, and there weren't like complete blowouts, then let's give everybody the roses. They're all on the same level. It just doesn't make sense, guys. There's not elite fighters at that division, and that's nothing bad. That means there's a stacked good division. There's a stacked good fighters. They're what I would call A level, B plus fighters, A and B, but there's not any A plus. Maybe there's B plus fighters. Let's put it that way. There are a bunch of B plus fighters. But put it this way. Barrera and Morales would tear them up, I think. They'll tear them up. I think also Manny Pacquiao at 135. They wouldn't be able to handle him, man. First off, he had punching power. He'll knock the hell out of. He would have finished that fight with Teofimo. Then he beats. I think he beats Kambosos easily, and Haney is touchable. I mean, he works at a slow pace. It looks like he's got a long reach and all of that, and he's got his structure down, but he's just so slow. He's so paced, and they don't have what it takes to win a fight. Floyd won fights because he was shameless, in the sense that if he saw he was in trouble, that dude does not care if you talk shit about him. He's gonna clinch the whole fight as long as he gets that win. He knows he's got a few judges bought. He takes care of his people in Las Vegas, so he knows that he's at home. He's going to ride it through, and then he's quick enough to go in there and at least make it a close fight, to where it's going to be debatable whether he lost or not. I mean, he has that ability. But yeah, those fighters all clean them out, and so yeah, I don't think there's anybody really elite there. Who else said something? I think IBFP said that everybody beats up Kambosos, and I think I disagree with that. I think now that I saw the way Cruz kind of got his way into Tank, I say Kambosos actually, I think Kambosos is a little quicker, and he didn't get hit with a lot of shots. I think he actually is able to beat it's that I think that they're not exciting fighters, so we don't want to see them win. Like, I think Kambosos beats him, and then what's his name, De La Hoya's kid, what's his name, Ryan Garcia. He's been so inactive, and he's just looking for he says he wants to fight Kambosos. I think the division's a joke. I think now everybody's on the same playing field. There's a bunch of B-level fighters. It's a stacked B-level fighter division, and it's going nowhere. They're trying to hold on to their zeros, and they're still losing them. And now they've all gone to decisions. Almost every fighter in that division that has a zero has gone to and as a society, and what we expect from these fighters as fans, we love our people so much, whether you're Hispanic and you're going for another Hispanic, or you're African American fighter going for another African American, or you're Russian going for another Russian. We see our fighters go to I think as soon as we find out they're countrymen, or they're from our same race, or if they're Texans, they're like a Hispanic guy from Texas and you're Texan, and you're just gonna go for them. And if they're winning by decision on every fight, is a debatable decision that went to the 12th round, and they're all bruised up and they had a run, like Gervanta Tank Davis. Dude, if you're a Gervanta Tank Davis fan, you're a Gervanta Tank Davis fan, man. Like I'm Hispanic, but like if I was his homeboy, if I grew up with him, it doesn't matter how he won, if he ran and lost or survived, I'd be rooting for him. It doesn't matter. And but we get emotionally involved with our fighters that we go for, so we're no longer looking at them as being unbiased and saying, hey, what really happened. And then a lot of American fighters, that's who we see. So when foreigners come in, we're like, no, he's not good enough. Like IBFP said that everybody whoops Kambosos, and so Kambosos just showed us that he was able to fight Teofimo and beat him, and he screwed up his face. So if that tells us a story, that should validate the fact that he is one of the B level fighters, and I think maybe B plus. He's not just a B level. He's a B plus, because he messed up Teofimo's face, so he got the better end of it, and that should have been the other way around. We should have seen a bloodied, broken up George Kambosos that won by decision and had better, more landed punches with less strength, and Teofimo should have been the guy that landed a bunch of strong punches, not high volume, but lost due to inactivity, and he was supposed to win by knockout. But we saw a messed up face, and at the end of the day, guys, it's only flesh and bone. If you're fighting a weaker fighter and he's touching you more, the skin's gonna break. The bone can break. I mean, if he get pounded on, even if he doesn't hit as hard as you, it can still happen. And that's just all due to technique or someone figuring you out, or styles make fights. We just saw that Isaac Cruz style was tailor-made for Gervanta Tank Davis, and Gervanta Tank Davis didn't want a rematch. I think he's exposed in the sense that he's not exposed for being a C-level fighter. He's being exposed for, if Isaac Cruz, that doesn't have a lot of hype behind him, how many more B-level fighters are out there? I think we're never going to see, these guys are not going to hold on to their zeros. Those things are gone. Gervanta Tank Davis zero is gone, because that's like a draw or a loss to me. And he's been exposed for not being an A plus fighter. That's all he's exposed for. He's not exposed for being a C level fighter. He's still a B plus fighter. He's not even a B level fighter. He's a B plus, because he's very close to an A. And technically wise, I think Lomachenko is an A level fighter, but he's not an A plus, because he lacks the ability. He's like Floyd Mayweather, without the assurity of winning the fights, without owning a few judges here and there. He doesn't have that power. He doesn't live in Las Vegas. He hasn't bought insurance on his record to defend his record. He doesn't have that behind him the way Floyd does. And not only that, he has to rely on decisions. He's not going to knock someone out. So that's what we're dealing with, and he wasn't able to cut up Teofimo the way that Kambosos did. So that tells us a little bit about Kambosos. I think we're still sleeping on him. There's a lot of people that are still sleeping on him, because look what he did. And if someone does fight him, what's going to matter is in what manner they fight him. And if they're going to run around the ring like Floyd and try to pot shot him, and that's why people get avoided too. What's going to happen is they're not going to try to fight each other. A lot of these guys are still not going to try to fight each other. And then the B level, a lot of these unrated fighters that are that we still don't consider even C level fighters are going to come up, and they're gonna convince us and the media that they're B level fighters. I think there's probably another 4 out there. There has to be, because they haven't fought these guys. Some of these guys get a knockout and then they just get they say, man, I'm a ride that out for a while and let's see where it takes me. Like Ryan Garcia beat Luke Campbell, and who's he fought afterwards? He wants an easy fight. He hasn't even taken an easy fight. I mean, if you're gonna take the easy fight, then freaking take it already. I mean, you could have fought 2-3 easy fights and been called a cherry pick, but go ahead and pad your record. But I mean, just do it already, because we know that's what you're doing. Because let's be honest, Kambosos is not looking to fight you. And if you haven't fought Teofimo, and you haven't fought Gervanta Tank Davis, and you haven't fought Haney, if any of those three lose their zeros and have a loss on their record, does Ryan Garcia fight them? No, because then they're defeated fighters, right? And he wants to only, but you're not a ranked number 1, 2, or one or two in the division, so that means that the top guy's not gonna fight you either. So I mean, it's just a mess, and but it's getting exciting, but it's still a mess. And I think boxing as a company wants to hype up the sport, and that's why these guys are being elevated to those high positions. And then even Floyd Mayweather went out in an interview and said, well, I think he mentioned all of these fighters that just happened to be African American, and said they all should be rated higher. They're amazing fighters, and that they should be ranked really, really high, but they shouldn't have to fight each other. So I think that really looks bad. I think that he wants the public to follow and pay pay-per-view type money for African American fighters to fight bums, so that they can win really good money. He can make really good money. His fighters never get defeated, and he just wants his community to spend money. If you're going to spend money, the average person doesn't make a lot of money. So if you're going to spend money, you want to see something exciting. Don't ask your people to go watch, to support you just because you're black. They're going to support whoever's going to be a good and badass fighter, whether he's going to be Hispanic. I mean, Gervanta Tank Davis looks up to Canelo. And I'm actually a fan of Boots. I want to see more of him. I like Canelo, but I don't like him too much. He does deserve to be up there, but he also does play the Floyd Mayweather game, and he's doing the whole the cherry picking thing a little bit. Well, we don't even know how that's going, because it looks like Charlo's not trying to fight anyone either, because he's trying to hold on to a zero, so he's marketable. And that's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, this really, really kills the sport, man. But I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you on the next one. Please like and subscribe, and that's it.